Hi everyone, my name's Sophie Read-Hamilton and I work for the GBV AoR HelpDesk. I'm going to be providing a brief overview of the Technology Facilitated GBV learning series recently shared by the HelpDesk. So let's start with a little context. Technology is an increasingly critical economic, social and political resource. The digital revolution is rapidly transforming financial systems, education, service delivery, how people interact and engage, etc. And digital technologies are increasingly essential tools, including for humanitarian response. However, while technology is being harnessed to prevent and respond to GBV, including in emergency contexts, there is also growing awareness about technology-facilitated gender-based violence. That is, GBV committed, assisted, or aggravated, in part or full, by the use of information communication technologies, other digital tools. These include mobile phones and smartphones, the internet, social media platforms, email, etc. Many of us will already be aware of and concerned about tech-facilitated GBV, whether that's through our own personal experiences, our work, or research that we've come across on the issue. But in spite of the growing awareness, little is known about how the problem is manifesting across emergency contexts. The issue of technology-facilitated GBV is surfacing in emergency contexts, and GBV specialists and frontline services are increasingly trying to respond and support survivors of tech-facilitated violence. There is therefore a pressing need to build the GBV community's understanding of the issue, as well as our capabilities to engage with it, which is why the HelpDesk Steering Committee dedicated some resources to producing a learning series on this topic. The recently released learning series on technology-facilitated GBV seeks to build basic knowledge about the issue within the GBV in emergencies community, highlight some existing strategies for preventing and responding to it that might be adapted for use in emergency settings, and also to suggest some priority actions for different stakeholders to begin to take to engage with the problem. The learning series is informed by research and practice evidence, including review of published and grey literature and interviews with 25 individuals from all regions globally, including emergency and non-emergency contexts. People interviewed included practitioners, activists and researchers working across settings with diverse organisations in a wide variety of roles. They included GBV specialists, women and digital rights activists, researchers and practitioners working in frontline service delivery. Both frontline services dedicated to addressing technology-facilitated GBV and GBV services that have integrated response to technology violence into their processes and practices. Informants worked for grassroots community organisations, national and international NGOs, research institutions, UN agencies and intergovernmental organisations. Although they're not named, deep thanks are due for the time, knowledge and expertise shared, particularly those sharing sensitive information from conflict and refugee settings. There's 3 learning briefs in the series. The first brief, Understanding Technology-Facilitated GBV, provides an introductory overview of the issue, including a definition, a summary of different behaviours that constitute technology-facilitated GBV, prevalence, and some information about how technology-facilitated GBV is manifesting in emergency contexts. It also looks at the impacts on women and girls and suggests 5 priority actions GBV practitioners and specialists can take to help build theirs and others' knowledge, awareness, and evidence about the issue. The second learning brief overviews promising strategies currently being used in different parts of the world to prevent and respond to tech-facilitated GBV, highlighting some key examples and resources. It also suggests 5 priority actions for GBV practitioners and specialists to strengthen response to tech-facilitated GBV, and 5 priority actions to enhance mitigation and prevention. The third brief in the series looks at some of the wider implications of tech-facilitated GBV, offers recommendations for key stakeholders, including humanitarian agencies, donors, and online industries. There's a lot of information in the learning briefs, but there are also some key takeaways. Tech-facilitated GBV is a big and a growing problem. A prevalence study undertaken in 2021 looking at online violence against women and girls in 51 countries found that 38% had experienced online violence. For younger women, the rates were higher. 2/3 of participants knew other women who'd been targeted online, and 85% had witnessed online GBV. This data doesn't even include other forms of tech-facilitated violence, such as that perpetrated in the context of intimate partner violence. Nor does it include the experiences of adolescent girls. Tech-facilitated GBV is occurring in emergency contexts in many different forms. While there is no prevalence data from emergency settings, it's highly likely that it's occurring at similar or even higher rates. This was certainly the impression conveyed by those who informed the learning briefs. Secondly, tech-facilitated GBV leads to significant harm. Although it is perceived to be less serious or harmful than other forms of GBV by many, it can actually have profound, long-lasting and severe impacts on survivors. These include short and long-term physical, social and mental health harms. For example, severe psychological distress, self-harm and even suicide. The harms are linked to the specific and different characteristics of tech-facilitated violence against women. For example, it can be perpetrated anonymously from anywhere in the world at any time, making it very difficult to identify and stop perpetrators or hold them accountable. It can be constant, with the perpetrator having constant access to the survivor through virtual means. It can involve a large number of primary and secondary perpetrators. It's commonly perpetrated in public spaces, amplifying the harms. It can also be incredibly difficult to erase or remove abusive content. So it may exist for a long time, even indefinitely. This can mean no safety for survivors and result in ongoing and further victimisation and traumatisation. The impacts actually go beyond the significant harms caused to individual survivors. For example, women and girls' online engagement, behaviour and participation are all impacted, with clear and significant implications for women and girls' political and social engagement and participation and expression, access to information, ability to communicate, and to services, including in humanitarian settings. The growing technology gender use gap has actually been partly attributed to tech-facilitated GBV. So there is a pressing need to build and share knowledge, awareness, and evidence about the nature, scope, and risk factors for tech-facilitated GBV within and across humanitarian settings. To do this, we can start by increasing our own understanding about the issue and explore ways to safely learn about the issue from and with women and girls. We also need to look at how we can safely share information generated about the issue and advocate for attention and resources with others, women's rights organisations, humanitarian and national decision makers, donors, and the technology industry. The good news is there are learnings we can draw on from around the world. These include strategies for supporting and empowering survivors, building capacity of different stakeholders, and engaging in critical work with communities to build their awareness skills and strategies to recognise and respond to tech-facilitated GBV. Importantly, learning from other contexts shows us the importance of collective advocacy and action on this issue. The responsibilities to mitigate and prevent tech-facilitated GBV in humanitarian contexts go well beyond GBV practitioners and programs, and the GBV sector must engage in collaborative and collective approaches with others, including the digital rights community, the feminist tech community, if we are to hold the tech sector to account on this issue. Finally, we need to see this as the starting point, a springboard, if you like, for starting the conversation and taking action on tech-facilitated GBV in humanitarian contexts. The learning briefs provide some suggested priority actions for the GBV community and other stakeholders to help do this.